There's a cycle of life and death. You have to make peace with the fact that you're going to die. And I think that's the only way you could truly enjoy life, because you're always going to have this deep inner anxiety that you're denying, that you're ignoring, the elephant in the room, and you're going to have this facade of joy and happiness, but deep down inside, you've never dealt with the root of the problem. If you've never made your peace with the root of the problem, you're always going to have this type of anxiety or a very deeply rooted anxiety. The problem just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Absolutely.
And if I could just give you one evidence to that, like, there's so many developed countries that they have an incredible market for antidepressants. Everybody, I know so many people that take antidepressants. It's incredible. But you live in the West, you have an abundance of food, shelter, money, freedoms, you have everything. Why are you all on antidepressants? Well, that they haven't dealt with the root problem of all their fears, all their anxieties. What is the root problem of all their conflicts amongst one another? It's this root problem that they know they're going to die. Deep down inside, subconsciously, they know they're going to die and they don't want to think about it. Well, here it is. In the West, it's taboo to talk about death. It's very taboo. We say they passed on, they kicked the bucket. We have like 1,001 ways to express death in a way where we sweep it under the rug. Why? Because you're raining on my parade. We have this beautiful parade. And this parade is amazing. It's beautiful. And now when you talk to me about death, you're just raining on it. I want to focus on the fun that I have. Why? Because when I'm having fun, I forget about death. Death is forgotten. Well, guess what? You're going to have fun. You're going to distract yourself for a long time. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have this incredible anxiety at the end of your life. Why? And it's not even going to come at the end of your life. It's going to come much sooner. See, when you're 1 year old and you turn 2 years old, that 1 year is 50% of your life. It's so long. It feels like it's forever. When you go from 9 years old to 10 years old, that was 10% of your life. Look, at 10 years old now, your 1 year is 10% of your life. When you go from 99 years old to 100 years old, that was 1 day. So not only are you dying, but not only you are in this car crash, which we're all eventually going to die in this car crash, it's accelerating. It's happening faster and faster. The older you get, the closer death is, the faster death is coming towards you. The shorter your life seems. Yes, you live 365 days, but that 365 days seems like a week to me. The older you get, the faster you live life, the faster time passes. We're all going to die. This is truth. Without a faith, what's the point of going on? What is the point? I mean, if your children grow up to be successful or they wither away and die in their youth, what's the difference? They live for a blink of an eye. You live for a blink of an eye. What is the purpose of survival and reproduction? For what? For what purpose? Where's the end goal? If you're an atheist and you follow that road if you go far enough, if you go deep enough, you're gonna end up in a place we call nihilism. There's just no other way. There's just no other exit. And when you're gonna get to nihilism, you're gonna realize that if you're an atheistic materialist philosopher, you're gonna realize that if I rearrange my bed, if I mess up my bed, it's the same thing if I did that to a human being. I'm just rearranging matter. Human beings are just matter. There's nothing else to them. This is a philosophy of Stalin, Hitler, Zedong. There's no soul. If I cut your head off and put it on my table, it's the same as if I picked up a rock off the floor and put it on my table. I'm just rearranging the matter here in the universe. But we all intuitively know that this is not the case. So there's something special to human beings. There's something called life. Even though we cannot define life perfectly, pinpointing the essence of life, defining life is very, very difficult. We still know that it exists. We know this intuitively, whether you're a logical person or not, whether you're a scientific person or not. But there is something more. There's something greater than what we perceive as just matter in the world colliding against one another. What I'm telling you is there's an element that's alien to us, that's alien to this world. It's a transient substance. It's a substance we cannot find when we look at the table of elements. We cannot find it. However, we have an intuitive first-hand experience of it. There's a cycle of life and death. Where did life come from? Well, first it was dead. The thing is, people are not, they're not aware of how illogical and unscientific life is. This life is this thing that is, you cannot put it in a test tube. So allow me to give you this example I find that sums up a lot of thousands of years of philosophical thinking. Okay, so imagine I was creating a robot. Instead of skin, this robot's gonna have sheet metal. Instead of bones, it's gonna have steel pipes for bones. Instead of an eye, I'm gonna put him a camera. Instead of a brain, I'm gonna put him a computer. Oh, he's just like you. He talks like you. He laughs like you. Everything that you find delicious, he likes to eat. His behavior is identical to you. He follows you around. He learns your behavior. He becomes more and more like you every single day. Now I take one day and I mangle him. I scrap him. I turn him to scrap metal. Now my question to you is, did I commit murder or did I damage property? If I destroyed the robot, but he's identically like you, but he's missing something. There's something about him and you that there's a difference between the two of you. So I would say he doesn't have life. He is a very sophisticated vending machine. Algorithms are followed this way. The robot is fed a stimulus. So imagine I tickle the robot and I tell him, when you receive this stimulus, you make this sound, you laugh. But I could have programmed him to cry when I tickle him. A robot does not have this substance of life inside him. He gives the appearance of life, but he's not truly alive. Okay, now there are many thought experiments in philosophy that point this out. The appearance of life is not life. Now, how do we know this? We just do. We have this very deep instinct. We can recognize what life is. However, we cannot define it. We have this trouble defining it. We definitely cannot put it in a test tube. For people who are not trained in philosophy and people haven't had these discussions and you want to try to understand what's being said, a good example would be take your cell phone, for instance. You have the hardware. You have your cell phone. I take your cell phone and I break it. And now your cell phone is gone. It's dead. It's finished. It's been destroyed. And then I hand you a new cell phone, the new iPhone, the same cell phone you used to have, very similar, and you turn it on, and now you go into your account and all your pictures are in there, all your information is in there. It's the same phone, the same phone number. I can call you on your phone. Now your phone is alive again. It's working. Well, what happened? I saw you break this phone. I saw you break its material compounds. I saw you break them in half. I saw you destroy the phone. And now you handed me a new phone and it works again and it's alive again. Well, I will tell you, okay, now you have this cell phone. I have to teach you about the cell phone tower. The cell phone tower is sending the information in the phone. The phone is the brain. The cellular data is the mind. The mind and brain are separate, are different. If I break the brain, the mind, you no longer observe it, but it's still out there. You know, in science, they say nothing goes nowhere. Everything goes somewhere. You know, it's a scientific fact. It's an axiom. That everything in the universe goes somewhere. Nothing ever disappears. The only reason I know I have a brain is via the mind. There is no brain in the history of humanity that was observed outside of a mind.